Welcome to Grow Online, Spiritgrow in cyberspace. And this evening you have entered, figuratively, into our meditation space. We've been conducting a series of meditation workshops, trying to understand which modality of meditation fits best to your personality for the purposes of handling stress and breaking the stress cycle. So what I want to do this evening is to introduce yet another modality. But firstly, once again, what is meditation? Meditation is just the word. There's no exact definition. There are many, many different formats of meditation. The common denominator is focusing. But what you focus on, why you focus, well, that depends on the value system and the spiritual pathway that you happen to be engaged in. It may be a therapeutic approach. It may be a spiritually enlightening approach, whatever it might be. But for our purposes, we're talking about stress. Now, stress, I maintain, is a choice. Stress isn't something you catch out there. Stress isn't something that the world does to you. Stress is the way you choose, I choose, attitudinally, to interpret the circumstances in front of me. And I have choices as to how to interpret. Unfortunately for many, having been habitually following a pathway of catastrophic thinking, negative outcomes, or the product of fear, the pathway that is usually chosen under those circumstances causes stress. On the other hand, if we can unlearn that pathway of the mind, if we can get the neurotransmitters to flow along a different pathway, then under those circumstances we can break the back of stress, and especially cumulative stress, which means stress building on stress, building on stress. If we're able to break the cycle and cause stress to start again, then at least we are preventing serious hurt and harm to the body. Why would we be concerned about body? The short answer is because in Jewish spiritual teachings, the body is the spacesuit for the soul. In other words, the way that the soul is able to express in a world of time and space is very much the product of the efficacy of its spacesuit, how well you maintain your spacesuit. And health and wellness, therefore, is an absolute mitzvah. Maintaining ourselves to the point that stress doesn't destroy our mind and body is terribly important. Hence this series of meditation modalities. We began by looking at breath work. Why? Because breathing is something that is continuous, and yet if we focus on it, we're able to see a certain pattern of in and out that becomes almost hypnotic, but it becomes a different focus. Of course, it has a very, very profound Jewish underpinning. The whole idea of breathing in and out is the result of the cosmic breath, breathing in and out. The manifestation of the cosmic in-breath and out-breath are things like night and day, tides going in, tide going out, petals opening, petals closing. And there's many aspects of the in and out motion, the most profound of which is our soul, which constantly seeks to escape the constraints of the body and return to its natural home, which is up there, and at the same time recognizes its mission down here and operate through the body. And therefore it also engages in a toing and froing as such. So when we talk about breath as being a focus, with that kind of a repertoire, which we gained in the first session, we were able to displace the negativity of stressful thinking. And then we moved in our second session to an approach that is called autogenic training. What it means is the capacity to induce feelings of warmth and heaviness. When we induce warmth and heaviness, it relaxes the body. And this was found early in the 19th century, whereby it was discovered that when people were placed in hypnotic trance in order to alleviate stress, they later reported that they felt warm and heavy. And therefore a later researcher decided, let's get rid of the hypnotic trance and simply go straight into warmth and heaviness. So we did that kind of a modality, and it worked very, very effectively for some. And then last week, we went through a scanning technique, scanning different parts of the body systematically, and once again being able to intrude into the mind and be able to displace stressful thinking. And here's one of the aspects of wondrousness of creation. Hashem created us in such a way that we can't think of two thoughts simultaneously at the same time. Try it. You can't. You can oscillate very quickly between one thought and another thought and another thought and keep going backwards and forwards, but you can't think two thoughts at exactly the same time. Let's take advantage of that. It means that we can displace a negative thought that produces a stressful effect on the body with a positive thought that calms the body. And that's what we've been doing for the last 3 weeks, being able to displace that kind of attitudinal response which creates stress as such. Today I want to introduce yet another modality, the one of creative imagination. Imagination you take for granted. Everyone has the capacity to practice their imagination. But think about it. Imagination is probably the most spiritual aspect of human consciousness. Through our imagination, we can create the impossible. You can imagine yourself flying. You can imagine an elephant squeezing through the eye of a needle. You can do anything in your imagination. Why? If it's physically impossible, how can the construct of the mind come up with an impossibility? And the short answer is because imagination is one of the closest expressions of the point of infinity within us, something we call the soul in English, the neshama. The neshama is veritable a part of God infinity. We have it within us, and that's why we can access it. And imagination is the conscious access point. So let's use it this evening in such a way that we can create for ourselves the opposite of stress, a relaxed state, serenity within, balance, wholeness. And all that is possible, and it has such a healing effect on the body. Even if you practice for 5 minutes, if you practice for 5 minutes once or twice a day, you're probably adding years to your life. You're certainly adding equanimity to your body. You're creating health and wellness. You're probably changing your relationships by being a different person. And you're also going to enjoy life much more. So I want to take you into that particular sphere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the previous 3 modalities just for a short time for each on the basis of revision, and then move into this evening's meditation, the use of creative imagination. Now, as we've said on previous occasions, there is no specific posture that we adopt as such. On the other hand, it's good to adopt a posture of comfort and symmetry. If you're going to be more comfortable on the floor, even lying down, by all means. But seated in a chair, as we usually are, is just as good. Make yourself comfortable in the chair. Place your feet symmetrically on the ground. Hands on thighs, knees. Have your hands open. Back fairly straight. Head well balanced on your shoulders. The head is a rather heavy part of your body. And gently close your eyes. And just become aware of your breath, gently entering and exiting quite normally. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you can, prefer to breathe in and out through your nose. Taking slower, deeper breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. Become aware of the temperature difference between the air entering your nasal passages compared to the temperature of the air exiting from your nasal passages. You will find slightly cooler air entering and somewhat warmer air exiting. Just be focused on that temperature differential. Breathing in slowly, breathing out slowly. Deeply and slowly. Cooler air, warmer air. And with your next breaths, direct the air down past the chest area to your abdomen. And as you breathe in down to the abdomen, expand your abdomen on the in-breath and contract the abdomen to expel the air. So deep breath in, expanding the abdomen, collecting the air, contracting the abdomen, and breathing it out. So it almost seems like you're not breathing through your lungs, but through your abdomen, through your stomach area. Remember, expanding the abdomen as you breathe in, contracting it to breathe out. Rhythm, breathe in for a count of 3, hold for a count of 3, and breathe out for a count of 4. Take a slow, deep breath in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. Through the abdomen, in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. Allow your breathing to be even, a complete cycle, smooth, graceful. And move gently to the second modality by becoming aware of your hand, arm, and shoulder of your right side. Your right hand, your right arm, your right shoulder. And I want you to imagine yourself in a warm bath, relaxing in the warmth of the water, being focused on the right hand, right arm, and right shoulder. Feeling the warmth of the water penetrating the skin of your right hand, right arm, right shoulder. You can feel the warmth creeping in comfortably, and your hand and arm are becoming more waterlogged and heavier. Warm and heavy. Warm and heavy. Enjoy the warmth and heaviness spreading throughout your body. In the warmth of the bath, the water warming you and allowing yourself to feel heavy, warm and heavy. Third modality, scanning. I want you to become aware right now, where you're seated, of the big toe of your right foot. See if you can locate the big toe of your right foot with your mind. Touch it with your mind. Try to trace the outline of your big toe and you will find it much more easily with the mind. Becoming fully aware, feeling the big toe of your right foot. And now shift your focus to the smallest toe of the right foot. Try to find the little toe. It's harder to find, but if you look for it, you'll feel it with your mind. Trace its outline, and it will be easier to find. Focus on it to the exclusion of anything else. Just you and the little toe of your right foot. And now become aware of all the toes of your right foot. Bring your focus to the underneath of your right foot, the sole of the foot, as it's touching the floor, and feel the interface between the bottom of your foot and the floor. Bring your focus to your right heel. Feel the heel with your mind. Locate it. Feel it. Raise your focus to find your right ankle. Feel your ankle all around, circular. You can feel your ankle with your mind. And systematically you can continue like this, being able to feel all the parts of your body right up to the tip of your head where the hair is. That's what you would do if we had time devoted to it. But I want you to take a journey now. In today's exercise, your imagination. I want you to find yourself walking along a seashore in the most idyllic circumstances. You are totally alone. There's no one else on this long beach, but you feel quite safe. The sky is blue. It's pleasantly warm as the sun heats your back, and just become aware of the impressions that your feet leave in the sand just along the seashore, where the sand is still slightly wet. The sun is behind you, therefore your shadow's in front of you. Observe your shadow as you move forward, the shadow moving with you. Feeling completely at ease, free, and very happy. You, the sand, the sea, the blue sky. What a beautiful world the divine Creator sculpted for me to enjoy at this very moment in my imagination, the workshop of my mind. Walk towards drier sand and sit yourself down facing the water. And observe the long line of the wave as it approaches the shore a little unevenly, part of the lane breaking first, and then gently breaking onto the shore. another wave, and just follow the waves as they approach and bow down to you as you're seated there on the ground, on the sand, enjoying it. You can take yourself to this spot whenever you wish. You can, through your imagination, transcend time and transcend space. You can be your own movie director with no production costs. The wondrousness of who you are, employing the creativity of the mind through the infinity of imagination. Koach hadimyon, as it's called in Hasidic terminology. The capacity to not just mimic the world, but create your own world, even an impossible world. In the back of your mind, become aware that you have gone through 4 different kinds of foci, and each one has taken you away from things that might bother you. You can come back and be bothered by them later. Later you can problem solve. But these excursions remove stress, protect your body, protect your mind, inducing health, inner peace, calm. Focus again on your breath, breathing gently in through your nose and out through your nose. Be aware of the temperature difference, cool air entering the nasal passages, warmer air exiting. Become aware of your body. Begin moving your fingers. Move your fingers now, wherever you might be, and move your toes, feeling your body again. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, coming all the way back and seeing me again on screen. Well, another journey. It was a short journey today in creative imagination, and I'll take you in future in many different journeys. And then I'll explain to you more as to what these journeys really mean in context of creating new pathways of the mind, and how you can lay down these pathways to become better habits of mind than the unfortunate default habits of mind that often assail people 3 o'clock in the morning and they can't fall back asleep, and the like. We can overcome all of that. And when we become balanced, calm individuals, that becomes infectious. Others catch it from us, because the best way to affect people is by example. All the words, all the lectures cannot begin to approach the effectiveness of you being an exemplar to your family and to the world. That leaves a much bigger footprint in the sands of time. So thank you for spending a little bit of this evening with me. And next week, once again, we'll move to the 5th session in the series, and we're going to look at our 5 senses. We'll see you then. Good night.